Welcome back my YouTube channel. In 1941, the United States produced one of the most recognized and collected coins in American history, the Lincoln wheat penny. Known officially as the Lincoln cent, this coin carried with it not only monetary value but also a piece of America's story during a time of change and uncertainty. The penny's design, its widespread use, and its connection to history make it a fascinating coin for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brainerd, it was the first American coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure. By 1941, the design was well established and beloved by the public. On the front, or obverse, the coin displays the bust of President Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the national motto, "In God We Trust." To his left is the word "Liberty," and to his right is the year 1941, with a mint mark beneath the date if the coin was produced outside Philadelphia. The reverse design features two stalks of wheat curving along the sides, enclosing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above, the familiar phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one, reminds us of the unity of the nation. The year 1941 was an important one for the United States. The nation was still recovering from the economic hardships of the Great Depression, and while it had not yet entered World War II, the clouds of global conflict were already looming. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of that year, the US would be drawn into the war, but during the months leading up to that turning point, millions of these pennies were already in the hands of Americans. The 1941 penny was produced in very high numbers to keep up with the needs of a growing economy. 3 mints struck the 1941 wheat penny. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number, with no mint mark, striking nearly 887 million coins. The Denver Mint added a D mint mark under the date and produced over 128 million pieces. The San Francisco Mint struck more than 92 million coins marked with an S. Altogether, well over 1 billion Lincoln wheat pennies were minted in 1941, which explains why the coin is still commonly found in old collections and coin jars today. The composition of the 1941 penny was 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This is significant because only 2 years later, in 1943, the US Mint temporarily changed the composition to zinc-coated steel to save copper for the war effort. The 1941 issue therefore represents one of the last pre-war copper wheat pennies. As far as value is concerned, the 1941 penny is not considered rare in circulated condition. Millions survive, and worn examples are often worth only a few cents more than face value, usually between 5 and 50 cents depending on condition and mint mark. However, coins that have been carefully preserved and remain in uncirculated, mint state condition can be worth much more. A 1941 cent graded MS-65, for example, might fetch between $10 and $20. Even more valuable are proof coins, which were specially struck at the Philadelphia Mint with polished dies and mirror-like surfaces. Only around 21,000 proof examples were made in 1941, and today they can sell for $100 or more depending on their quality. Collectors also look for errors and varieties that add excitement to the hunt. Some 1941 pennies show doubled die errors or off-center strikes, and these can command prices far higher than ordinary examples. A well-preserved error coin could be worth hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. Despite its modest value in lower grades, the 1941 wheat penny has great appeal. For many collectors, It serves as an accessible and affordable entry point into the world of numismatics. It represents a coin that was widely used by everyday Americans, from children buying candy to families saving up change during uncertain times. It is a small reminder of the resilience of the country during the early 1940s. Another reason this coin is loved is its connection to the broader Lincoln Wheat cent series. The wheat design was produced from 1909 until 1958, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in US history. For collectors, completing a set of wheat pennies is a popular goal, and the 1941 issue is one of the key pieces needed to fill those albums. Though common, it holds a story that links it to one of the most important years in modern American history. The charm of the 1941 penny lies not in its rarity, but in its history. It circulated during the final months before America entered World War II. It was still made of traditional copper, unlike the steel wartime cents that would follow. It carried the image of Abraham Lincoln, a president who guided the nation through its greatest trial, and it reminded citizens of national unity through its mottos. Each 1-cent coin may have only bought a small item, but together they represent a nation on the edge of monumental change. Today, whether found in a coin shop, passed down in a family collection, or discovered in an old jar of change, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny remains a treasure. For some, it is a doorway into the fascinating hobby of coin collecting, and for others, it is simply a tangible link to the past. Though its face value is just 1 cent, its historical and collectible value is far greater.